I heard a lot about Mark. I mean, he has probably one of the most interesting businesses that I've seen. Probably the most interesting brick and mortar business I've seen in the city. And I got to be honest, like at first, and I told you this, I was like, I heard it, I didn't get it.
I was like, very common reaction.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't get it, and then I walked in there one day, and I was like, wow, these people train hard, and they're training really smart. And yeah, granted, the instructor's in a pair of briefs, and that's fine, but everyone was laughing and having fun. And then when Mark and I started doing these lunches, which we haven't done in a while, we should probably get back to it eventually. But we would do these lunches like probably every 3 months. We would just go out and kind of catch up, talk about businesses. I talked about my struggles. I feel like I struggled a lot more than he did. He had a much quicker climb. But, it was just nice to have someone to kind of, like a buffer to be able to bounce things off of. And the thing about his business that I admired so much is that you're always looking at this, like, fitness is life, like, approach. And this, like, guy, like with his shirt off with, like, perfect abs and all this crap. It's like, whatever. And, we're all kind of victim to that. That's what we sell. But Mark really kind of got in touch with the theater individual, the average Joe, the person who maybe didn't feel so secure to get to the gym and fitness. And I think that's the best way to describe it. You created a culture and a community and really smart training, to the point where, like, if someone talks to me about group training, because that's really what the majority of your models are on, is group and semi-private,
group and semi-private, totally.
You're kind of the guy. Like, you're the one. Like, I'm definitely more of a one-on-one person. Like, I'll admit that. But I feel like if someone wants to go into that community and be in, like, this high energy but, like, smart coaching, that's what I want to see them go to.
Thank you so much.
Not Barry's boot camp and all this other stuff. And so, I mean...
But that is something that Don does not usually have a lot of positive things to say about group training, except when it comes to
they're talking about you a lot.
Oh, right on, man.
And it's funny, but
there are a lot of understandable concerns about the way group is commonly done.
And so your approach, and you opened in 2012, your first location in 2012, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So what was it that went into the way that you approached it that was different than other people, and how like a Barry's will say, like, what was different?
I think I got lucky because for me, I didn't actually have much exposure to any group exercise. All I knew was one-on-one personal training, and then I tried to do that to a lot of people at once. So, like, for a while we used to even call it like large group personal training, which is a total oxymoron. But I know that for me, I don't say that a lot of what people traditionally describe as group exercise, I don't say there's anything wrong with it. I'm all about getting people moving. But I come from kind of, similar to Don, like a kind of more nerdy strength conditioning background. And there are a lot of things that are done that are maybe fun or maybe interesting, but we would probably say are not in keeping with best practices of what we know about how human physiology adapts to stimulus. Not saying it's wrong. It's cool. Listen, your movement is great. But I think there, And to be clear, like, I am very aware there are certain compromises one has to make working in a group. There's certain things you just can't do. There's certain things that are not perfect. There is a social piece that is a big part of it. But I think because I didn't really know what the standard was, I was just like, well, let me just like have fun and create. And particularly because in the beginning, I was largely an outlet for somebody that was a professional actor for a long time and also kind of like a secret like philosophy nerd, this sort of weird performance art, like vulgarity artist, like stand-up comedy, life coach, fitness instructor thing. And that felt right. Like, yeah. I was once described, actually, I felt this was like, oh, it's like pretty spot on there. Like, it's like if Richard Simmons and Russell Brand had a love child. And this was actually hilarious. This is my favorite. I always put this up in when I give talks because this is the New York Post describe it, and then they're like, he also carries a stuffed unicorn. ... He also has a girlfriend. I was like, oh, New York Post is like, this guy's a homosexual. He doesn't know it, but clearly he is.
But yeah, that was what I mean. It's so funny in the industry. Everyone wants to. They always want to bash you for something. Like, I was originally like, oh, he's a golf guy, he's not a fitness guy. And then like the fitness people were like, no, he's not a fitness guy, he's a golf guy. Like, I'm like, suddenly it's like whoa. And with him initially it was like, oh no, you go in there and there's like dildos hanging on the walls and unicorns, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, and then with him and I became friendly. I'm like, I want to come see it. And I came and I saw it. I'm like, where's the dildo, man? I was hoping to see it. And he's like, no, it's in the office. But I went in there and I definitely...
It's so anticlimactic.
No, it's in the office.
Like,
we can pull it out
later. One small dildo in the corner, and somebody's doing a deadlift.
But it was funny because there was an instructor in their briefs, and he was like, there's a way to swing a kettlebell. he was swinging the kettlebell hard style. Like he was ripping it, but he was laughing, and the class had this energy, and they were sweating, and they were having fun. And it was almost like this, it really was this pinnacle in my career when I saw that. It really was, I don't want to say it was like a turning point, but it was something that will resonate in my brain for the rest of my life. Because I saw that, I was like, you know what, man? Be the smartest coach on the planet. You can deliver the best training program, the best product in the world. You gotta have fun. And you know, for years it was like the bodybuilding coaches against the strength coaches.
Yeah.
It was like everyone's like, oh,
Totally,
he bodybuilds,
man.
it's not about performance. And the bodybuilder's like, yeah, but he looks like shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's this back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we all just get along and take a little bit? And in a way, you made fitness very relatable and really enjoyable. And that 45 minutes when you go in there, it's for the people who are like, I struggle to get in there. What motivates you? You got to find something that you love or you have fun with to a point.
I wanted to ask Phil about something you mentioned earlier about the struggles you guys both had as business owners.
Oh.
So what were the
Where to
struggles
begin?
that you had?
We only have an hour, dude.
I know. Well, I wanted to talk about the differences that you had that Don had that Mark didn't. Because you guys said that, you know, you had some that were different.
I mean, I feel like, I don't know. My struggles, I had to almost recreate myself like through my business model. So my business model was initially golf fitness.
Right.
And then when I dove into golf fitness, and I was like, all right, in the beginning, it's like, oh, you only need 200 active members to break even. And you're like, these numbers are in your head and you're going through that. And I'm like, well, wait a second. I'm training Hugh Jackman now, and wow, like 200 golfers in the city, or I can really cater to the whole country. Like everyone wants to look superhero ready. And it's not that I got away from golf, but in a way, I made a decision.
You saw the opportunity.
I saw the opportunity, and my passion really started moving away from golf. I love golf.
Right.
And so so in 2007, 2008, I had to pivot off my business at a time where we were struggling a little bit because of the economy. And that was, you know, and then I had to play years to catch up. So that was my struggle.
But then did it also become to the point where it's like, oh, he's Don, he only trains celebrities, and then it's like he's the superhero like douche guy, like, but you're not.
There's probably plenty of people saying this.
but you're. I think like that's the thing that is unique about you, because remember, like even like 5 years ago, like celebrity trainer was not always in our circles.
Right.
Was not always considered a good thing, and you sort of like are the celebrity trainer that's actually legit.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, you know, it's almost like a lot of people step in shit and they become, you know, they train a celebrity and they slap that tag on themselves. They don't have 20 years in the business.
Right.
And then they just happen to train celebrities. You know what I mean?
It's like Charlie Weingraff said to me recently. He's like, listen, man, whatever they want to call you, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I was talking to him, I was like,
cares,
man, I
yeah.
wish I could find something besides celebrity trainer. It's like, not that it bothers me. I just feel like it devalues you. He's like, listen, man, it's working.
Yeah,
Just
and
let it go. And I was like,
people
oh,
get it.
you're actually right. I'll let it go.
But for Mark, it's you know, at 2012, did you have to overcome that stigma of like, oh, it's just group fitness, where as Don's saying, you're in there making sure people are doing these movements correctly, but also having fun?
Yeah, you know, it was interesting because I didn't really have to overcome that for the clients. I'm sure I know there were many people in the industry when they first saw this, like, what is going on? But it was interesting because I remember there was a very distinct moment before we even had a physical space. This would have been the summer of 2011. And this was like back when video was like hard to do. So I spent a ton of money, and this was when I was just sort of like evolving MFF. And at that point it was like basically just me. And I did a number of these like ridiculous videos, one of which actually was about the FMS. It was like a spoof. It was like FMS, like hardcore. Because I was like, oh man, people say FMS is lame, but like meanwhile, Brett Jones like bending nails. So like the whole joke was like, what if I rebrand the FMS? So we're talking like super niche. The very small sliver of the world would be interested in watching a video like this. But I remember when I did that, I was like, all right, well, this is the end of any credibility I might ever have. But I don't care. I think it's funny.
How was the response on that, by the way?
It was great. And from the industry. And that was the thing that was weird because what was interesting was I used to go to all these events beforehand, but I was like a lurker. I wouldn't like talk to people. I was like, I'm open my mouth. People know I'm weird. And I think to my credit, realized, well, my end client isn't really Mike Boyle. I respect Mike Boyle. I'll feel badly if he thinks I'm a loser, but like Mike Boyle's not going to buy training with me. Like my people are the Isle of Misfit Toys, and I can make things for them that speak to people that don't feel like they fit in a traditional gym.
Yeah, but that's what's so brilliant about it because like you can't be everything to everyone, but here like a lot of the marketing, the marketing messages are it's this guy that looks a specific way. He's catering to the Isle of Misfit Toys.
Right.
There's a lot more Misfit Toys than there are the guys that look like they should be on the cover
Agreed.
of a magazine.
And they're intimidated. They don't feel like they belong, and it's like
it's relatable.
Yeah.
It's fun. So he's making something relatable in an industry that's probably the hardest thing to do, relating to the person sitting on the couch.
It's so true.
And he's adding you're adding the word fun to the equation.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, like genius.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's like, why didn't all of us think of that? It's brilliant.
And and we're certainly lucky. And I think a fair critique of MFF people make is like, I think to say to Avi's point is like, well, you wouldn't succeed with that in Iowa. And it's like, well, I know I probably wouldn't take that similar approach in Iowa.
Yeah.
Because to some extent, it's kind of a zig against, like the New York City group exercise scene, which again, like I'm not knocking, but it's like broadly kind of like aspirational, beautiful people being beautiful together in a beautiful space. There's lots of beauty, and we're sweating, we're dripping, we're rock hard, we're beautiful. And like also like, by the way, super into beautiful people, right? So no hate here. Like I get it.
Yeah.
And I think that is something to be said for marketing this aspirational. But because again, my avatar was always like my friends. Like I just knew like that made them feel bad about themselves, made them feel self-conscious, it felt unachievable. So from day one I was just so hyper focused on like, how do I get my friends? And my background, I was an actor, so my community was theater performers. It wasn't even like film actors. So now you're dealing with people that have, like, first of all, have very inconsistent to discretionary income, and I'm dealing with like middle-aged gay character actors. My best friend in the dressing room, and this like beautiful, like really like amazing looking female dancer who feels like weird in the gym because the guys are leering at her, or this older obese woman character actor. Like they were like my people that I spent 10 years around the country working with, that I wanted to take the things that Mike Boyle and so many of my mentors were doing, and I wanted to like, how can I deliver to them in a way that would capture their imagination?
But that's kind of what you and I have been talking about. Zach and I have this mission. We should figure out a way to articulate it like on the wall, but we really want to smarten, we want to start educating people when it comes to this sort of thing, when it comes to fitness, because at the end of the day, it's not their fault. Like
it's not her fault.
It's not her fault. She's an actor, or he's an accountant, or she's a school teacher.
They're doing other stuff,
and she's just seeing someone on Instagram that has a great ass, and it's like, wow, I want that ass, or I want those abs, and all right, fine, and they start following them, and you're really empowering someone who just woke up one day and just decided, oh, I'm going to be a fitness icon because I look a certain way, and now I'm going to sell product to people, and which is really, we've seen what's been happening. I mean, people selling product and not delivering it and stealing money and all this crappy stuff. And now it's we kind of made this in our mission in the beginning of the year, and we said, how are we going to do it? How are we going to make a change? One guest at a time. So we said, all the guests we want to bring on, like, this is not about you having 30 million followers. This is about you being able to deliver something where the viewer can get educated a little bit more and get a little bit more of an understanding of what it is that we all know here. And maybe what you should be looking for when you're trying to find a group training class. Or, I don't hate spinning, but maybe I don't like spinning 6 straight days a week.
Exactly.
It's like, come on, things that come so natural to you. So.
Yeah. And but that's the thing too, man. It's like, before I jump on that, I want to go back because I don't think I let you answer about just some of the struggles that you had when you first got started. Because I think it's important just to, I always find it interesting just having or hearing two different points of view on this. Because somebody that's listening or watching may be wanting to start a business, and I think hearing these stories are really important to them.
Yeah, I think ours was interesting in that we hit it so hard outside the gate. We didn't really run into issues after we've been open for a few years. And I think there's probably one of the best testaments, I think, to how seriously Michael, my business partner, and I took it is like, we knew it wasn't going to last forever. But there was a lot of like the right time, the right place. I mean, there was like a good year and a half there. We were just like trying to fill out people's like membership agreements. We didn't even do any marketing for the first like probably 18 months.
Jeez,
like we just, and again, it was also, and again, I don't want to say that we weren't working hard, we weren't doing things right, but that's not just that. That's also literally everything was working. It was the right group of people, the right time. I had this existing network of all these people in the Broadway community. We had the right influencers in that community really take a stand for what we were doing. We did really know what we were doing. We found the right lease. It was all a bunch of things that went really, really well. And of course, that doesn't last forever. And we knew that wouldn't last forever. And then I think it was really around 2016 when we opened up our second facility that things got tough. And in a weird way, I would almost say we almost felt like relieved in that moment. We're like, finally, like things are going crappy. This is some real challenge here. Might be skipping some payrolls here. All right, owner not getting paid. And then ultimately, it wound up, we figured it out as we knew we would, I think. And of course, the advantage of challenges is their opportunities, right? Because I think the whole team laser focused. I wouldn't say we were like living off the fat of the land, but I think as soon as there was anything even remotely close to like any actual existential threat, there was no more of the sort of like, I don't want to call them stupid, but the small skirmishes you can get into in an organization where things are going well and the margins are great. And that I'm really proud of the way we rallied together after that, because it also forced us to professionalize the organization, because the first couple of years, we were reading books. We didn't like really know what we were doing. I mean, we were like kind of tracking our numbers, but we mostly just got by on really delivering a great thing, being great at what we were doing. And I think you can totally do that for a couple of years. I just don't think you can do that for 10 or 20 or 50 years. Right. And I really would like to have something that has legs.
So is Michael's your best friend? Right? Is that right?
Yeah.
How did that work in business? And I know you were also in business with your brother. How does that work too? So you're with your best friend and with your family.
Yeah, I'll be curious to hear your experience with this. I know that for Michael and I, again, it's more like dumb luck. And now, because a lot of the work that I do outside of Mark Fisher Fitness is coaching, consulting, and a lot of it's actually outside fitness. So a lot of my day-to-day now is also working with other organizations. And I now know no shortage of horror stories about partnerships gone horribly awry. Michael and I got lucky, and you actually see this in a lot of, I think, successful partnerships, in that we had just been like friends as we were kids. So we literally had known each other for like almost 20 years before we started working together. Now that's no guarantee, but it's not a bad start, because we knew our values were in line. What we didn't know, or we super lucked out, was that our skill sets would be so complementary, and that the things we each liked and excelled at were the opposite of the other, and each doesn't really care about what the other does in their own lane. And we are willing to, I never feel like Michael and I ever like argue about things, but we never agree on anything. Like, it's almost like we're actually starting to play it a bit, because we teach courses for entrepreneurs, where we'll literally like put up the slide, like, oh, this is great. We can argue the slide. We can be like, here's why Michael's wrong, or here's why Mark's wrong about this thing. And I think that makes your thinking better, because I think the danger you've seen in a lot of organizations are, it can be very easy to get into groupthink. It's very hard for people to be candid, particularly when there's a power dynamic. And the advantage of having a very strong personality as my partner is Michael is never shy about telling me, and I gotta say, I'll give a team credit, they're mostly not shy about telling me they think I'm doing something dumb, and they're right more often than I care to admit. But Michael's been a great blessing, because he and I are probably closer to brothers than friends at this point. But I also don't take it for granted, and it's like, I'm totally like afraid, like, what if we wake up one day and we just want different things from our lives, But
well, listen, I think at some point, like, it's gonna end. Like, it's just, at some point, like, you exit, or you shut the doors, or you move on to something else, or like I said, exit. I mean, it could be an incredibly positive thing. I mean, you look at the Ericos who started Equinox, and when they unloaded, they were done. And I know there was other stories of them trying to start other gyms and little spots, and I don't think it really mattered how it really did at that point. I think they were just more of a pet project. But listen, I mean, I think that's what I've gone through with my brother, because a lot of similarities there, and we have very different focuses. The thing with my brother and myself was he didn't have to be so in it all the time. He didn't have to, be there on the floor from 6 a.m. Like, I'm the face of that business. Right. And he really, everything he handled was bookkeeping and accounting and banking. And I think at a certain point, he just realized that, the business is really actually doing well now, and he wants more in his life. Yeah. So I think he decided, listen, he still owns a chunk of the drive, but he decided to get off into wealth management, and him being the golfer that he is, now he can use his golf game to, land clients and build business.
Yeah, totally.
And that, for me, I was incredibly happy for him. But that was a great thing coming to an end. I mean, at a certain point when he ended up leaving, I was like, oh, he's leaving me. Like, it was, I'll be honest, I really thought that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I was bitter, but I was definitely, I think I wanted him to want what I wanted, and that was unfair that I was saying that. I'm like, no, dude, you got to go. The right thing to say was, no, you got to be happy, and you got to keep reaching, just like I want to keep reaching.
It's so true.
I think
how long did it take you to get there?
I mean, I just got there.
Just now.
I think today. Yeah. No, I think probably, in all honesty, probably the last year.
Yeah.
I've been able to, we've been in this business. Our lease is 14 years in.
Yeah.
This last May. My lease expires next May. in that
Do
location.
you want to stay there?
I want to move because I've got some cool stuff going on right now. I wouldn't even say it's a rebrand, but not to jump the gun early and disclose too much, but I got a celeb client right now that I might be going into business with, and we're going to do something that's a little more repeatable than what Drive is.
Robert Downey
But-
Jr.?
No. Do you see Less Than Zero? I don't know why I just thought. You ever see that movie Less Than Zero?
No, but I've been thinking about it lately because I haven't
Watch
seen it.
the freaking movie. To this
Okay.
day, it's still his best movie. I
I'm
don't care what it is.
committed to do it.
Unbelievable. I think it might have been too close to home on for him. I mean, you're
I
going to
don't
watch
even
it.
know why I would mention him.
Why'd you
Like,
watch him? Why did I mention Less Than Zero? I think it was on my mind. But listen, great things come to an end at a certain point. But I think with with every door that closes, a new one opens. So
Yeah.
Can you be honest? Is it Bill Pullman?
no,
No. All
who's
right.
Bill Pullman?
Just figured it might
I
be
don't know who
him.
that is.
No, oh, I was gonna say Bill Pullman's not dead, is he?
Independence
Bill Paxton, I
Day?
think, sadly.
Like-
Bill Paxton.
Bill
passed away.
Pullman's
What a
still
shame.
alive.
Yeah. Wait, do I have the right guy?
Yeah, totally right.
All
guy.
right,
I
cool.
was confused.
So your first location was on the Upper West Side.
Yeah.
Which I've
Hell's
been,
Kitchen.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Hell's Kitchen, and you've really added a lot to that. Like,
Yeah. So another thing
evolved.
we got lucky is we started with a little like 3,000 square foot space, which is not like super small, but we were able to do 4 expansions in the same buildings because my landlords own the whole side of the block, and 39th Street is like nothing is going on over there. There's there's nothing going on over there. It's still actually not always
A
a
little
great area.
underdeveloped, yeah.
Yeah. So we just got lucky because I don't think there were a lot of attractive potential tenants because it didn't really make sense for him probably to lease it to me, frankly, in retrospect.
He's got a group training area that's almost feels like a theater when you walk in. There's that
Yeah.
mezzanine level, right, where you can kind of look down at the class going on.
Although
It's
that,
crazy.
sadly, the mezzanine level we did wind up having
To get rid of?
Well, we turned it into an office because we used to live. So this was really wild. I mean, it was so ridiculous when I think back to it now. But we lived on the 3rd floor, which was amazing because it was actually this really beautiful. It was like a nice luxury condo situation. Which was amazing when we moved in, but then we kept hiring people, and at a certain point we didn't have a living room anymore. And you'd be there Saturday morning making your eggs, and a bunch of people just past the door making calls. So we needed an office, and that's what that is now.
That's cool.
Is
Yeah.
it true you give each employee a self-education budget?
Yeah. They get a reimbursement stipend.
Okay.
We are obsessed with continuing education. Honestly, it's something I'm still never happy with where we're at. I think it's something we've really worked on the past few years to figure out, okay, what are the systems? Because when I think about this from a management perspective, you're always trying to balance the individual's desire to be what they want to be and create what they want, but also keep them accountable to some sort of standards. And in addition to everybody getting a stipend that they get reimbursed for cash back on what they invest in, which by the way, I'm ludicrously yeah, sure, okay, you're going to an event where they're going to be channeled entities teaching spiritual consciousness. Yeah, sure, that's great. Yeah, you can go to that. So we have a pretty broad definition because for me, if it's personal development, same thing. Personal development, professional development, I feel great. But then we also invest in a fair amount of things where last year, Q4, not everybody on the team had a current FMS. So we'd all right, well, let's buy FMS for the entire team.
Right.
So we spent a lot of time and energy in it, and we have a lot of vigorous, passionate debates amongst the team about what is actually useful to them, what is actually going to change their behaviors now, what is going to lead to their career. But it is true that we are very committed to it and always looking to improve the actual execution.
I couldn't agree anymore. I mean, this was a topic I was having. Do you know Cody Benz?
Yeah.
So Cody's one of my smartest
Cody.
coaches, and he's becoming a physical therapist. We were at a breakfast this morning. We were talking about something as simple as the FMS. And what's interesting about a lot of coaches out there is, if you're a good coach, you have this yearning to want to develop your skill and your craft. And even to this day, 20 years into it, I still take continuing ed. It's not every month anymore,
Right.
or every few weeks because I don't have, I have a family. But what starts happening at a specific point is I think you have to subjectively look at your coach and just say, what am I telling you to go get, or what are you going get that's actually applicable? And some courses you can take could become a weapon, a dangerous weapon, if you
Right.
bring it back into the training environment. And you're like, well, how is that? That's a
can't
little
name
but
certain
but it
modalities.
sounds
Yeah.
it sounds a little extreme. But suddenly, I'm making this up. We have a coach that doesn't understand the FMS, or doesn't understand the hard style kettlebell, or doesn't understand tension techniques. And out of nowhere, he's like, no, I'm going to go off and take a PRI course. And suddenly I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You're going to go spend a whole weekend, discussing diaphragmatic breathing and your ribs moving and the stuff's important.
Yeah.
But then why? Like, are you coming back trying to become a physical therapist? Are you on the floor now trying to apply all the stuff you're so excited to learn into the training session that you should be training?
Right.
You shouldn't be sitting there for, 40. And a quick example, years ago, I had a tour player come in. I had one of my PTs who I love to death, and I could talk about this, not mentioning his name, but he spent the first 50 minutes with the guy, this was like 8 years ago, working on breathing patterns. The guy was in pain. And I asked the client, what did you think? And he goes, that was a disaster. I'm coming in pain. He's talking to me about how my breathing's bad. And I don't mind disclosing this because I learned a lot from that situation. This stuff could become a dangerous weapon. And I think you need to know, fine, can FMS be 100% applied in your environment? I don't know. I don't know if it's something that everyone's using with every single client coming in. I don't know. I can't answer that. I don't know your business that well. But I still think the joint-by-joint approach is an important tool for people to learn when you're running them through a warm-up and you're assessing, wow, that guy can't hinge. You know, they can't, they're trying to do an overhead drill and they can't externally rotate their shoulder and they're going into extension. Like, you need to know this stuff as a coach. And that's a problem with a lot of group training out there is you have coaches coming in and they're taking an exercise and they're turning it into a weapon because they do not understand what that individual should or should not be doing.
Yeah.
Is it don't understand or don't care?
Both. I think it can be both. I don't think it's both in every circumstance, but I think when you bring some light to a coach and they're like, oh wow, I didn't know that, and they get excited. Yeah, sure. But I think some other coaches are like, screw it, I just want to make money. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's certainly probably some people out there that are bad actors. I think the other thing too that becomes challenging. Well, I'm an optimist, and it's Hanlon's razor. Never ascribe to malice what can be easily explained by incompetence. So for a lot of I think coaches, one of the challenges you run into, right, is if one doesn't have the abilities, like Dan John would say, to just never get tired of the basics, because people want, it's kind of go back to the continuing education development conversation, they want opportunities to grow and develop and change and evolve in some way. Well, the challenge is if you're doing, and this is a really challenge we have in MFF because it's, general population, like group training, it's like I got some guardrails on here, right? Like, in classes, for instance, we don't do overhead pressing because I just have figured out I can't convince these people not to do this no matter what they do. They're very emotionally annoyed by it. I don't necessarily need to press the overhead, so I'm just not going to do it, right? And the challenge, I think, for some coaches are, unless you're going to the world of rarefied sports where that stuff really does start to matter, what you will tend to see is they either get so down the rabbit hole of a level of performance or like rehab, prehab, borderline out of scope stuff because they're interested in it, but it's not necessarily necessary that client, particularly in dealing with Gen Pop, that it can sometimes be challenging, right? At MFF, I think part of what has served us is by going so deeply in the behavioral change coaching stuff. That is a world where I'm very comfortable with them going down that rabbit hole because that is a craft one never masters because every individual is different and getting good at helping somebody come to clarity around what it is they actually think and what it is they feel, and then helping support them move in a direction of behaviors will support their goals is humbling, to say the least. It's very humbling.
Yeah, no.
I think there's something that Don mentioned earlier, but I kind of want to walk through it because we're mentioning a lot about group fitness, and a lot of people I feel like have an idea of what a gym is or what a gym should look like, and he mentioned what your gym kind of looks like, but I don't think people really get a picture if they don't know what it is. Can you kind of describe what it is?
The way I always describe it is like, so if you've spent time recently like a child, like a small child, if you take like a small child and you like give them acid and then have them paint. Like, so it's like a very like kind of like glittery and graffiti and I'm very interested in that juxtaposition because I also like that there's also like iron and steel. Like there's something about like, we've never done this. So I have this idea for like an image I want to get painted. I want to get painted like a super like bodybuilder, like drag queen holding a kettlebell on like a glittery unicorn with like a barbell with like 405 like overhead pressing. And there's something about that juxtaposition that I'm very interested in. So the space is a lot of graffiti. It's very like purple and pink and weird colors. And we also were lucky, and in some ways more so in HK because HK was a found space. So it's retained more quirk. Bowery is beautiful, but it's more conventionally like, oh, you're a nice New York fitness studio. So I think everything about that space is just so weird and quirky, and we just like had to make things work. That for me, I think that's a lot of the charm of it. I always say like MFF is like, it's like an art project, right? And it's always, I always want to feel like I made this thing for you, and it's like, it's a little dirty because I dropped it here on the way over and I think I might have broken, but I made this thing for you, right? Which is interesting because like long term, you know, I know that we've talked about this too. MFF is probably not the thing I would scale. Like, and I'm already like, okay, well, what is the thing I can?
Well, wait, are you interested? Because the last time you had lunch, you were like, yeah, I don't know if I want to scale. Did you change your mind on that?
Not MFF.
Okay. So
Not
you have
MFF.
something else now. Okay.
Yeah, like I think similar to you, right? Because my MFF, because it's a love letter to humanity, there are things in it that I wouldn't want to change.
Right.
That I can't like, you know, I'm not gonna like write you up like, oh, if you didn't throw any dildos today, I have to write you up. You're not wearing your flare. And furthermore, I do think it is a truism of entrepreneurship that it's always easier to start a new thing than like fix a thing that you didn't really quite know how to do and you're
Right.
making up on the fly.
Because it's working, so you don't want to try to like perfect something that's working,
Yeah.
especially if you really love what it's become, right?
Yeah, totally. And you know, there's other, you know, and particularly now, and I feel like so lucky and blessed because like the team is in place now where like I don't really have like a job anymore. Like, I don't have much day-to-day stuff. I have like a team meeting once a week, and I meet with our CPO once a week, and then
what do you do at these team meetings, and what do you do with the CPO? Like, what can you walk me through?
Yeah,
what
for
that's-
sure.
what that's
So,
like?
so for the team meeting, we have we use a system called Traction, which is like a one of a number of commercially available like entrepreneurial operating systems they call. There's nothing about it that's magical, but it's just like a well thought out, like kind of done for you system of everything from getting clear on like your 15-year goal to like your 3-year vision to 5 to 6 SMART goals for the year, working back to everybody on the leadership team having 3 to 5 rocks, they call them. What is our project for the quarter that we must get done? What are the 3 rocks for the organization that we all know on pain of death we're going to get done this quarter? And then you work back to individual scorecard where we track weekly numbers, everything from revenue to terminations to strategy sessions booked to net promoter score, like subjective survey data from ninjas. So I look at that on a weekly basis. So between that and then like the monthly numbers, it gives me a good sense of what's going on in the business. I also read every piece of feedback that comes into MFF. Ninjas are very passionate at MFF. They're very generous, letting us know what they think. So we get a lot of candid feedback, and I read all that. So that meeting is just a 60-minute. It's a tight meeting. You do the numbers up first for 15 minutes. Then you do something called the IDS, Identify, Determine, Solve, where we like Andrew, who's our CPO, who runs MFF, is like, here's an issue we got to figure out. Sales are down for Ninja Summer Camp. We're not where we want to be.
Ninjas are coaches, by
Right.
the way. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, ninjas are the clients.
Clients,
Sorry.
right.
Yeah,
What do you call the coaches?
I call them MFFers, but I can't make fetch happen. That's not caught on, but I call them MFFers.
Ninjas are the clients. Sorry.
So that, and then we sort of talk about as a leadership team, people have action steps and occasionally have to-dos, but for the most part, my real job for MFF is I still to this day write most of the copy. So I'm a big fan of marketing and sales copy. So I write landing pages, I write emails, I oversee social. I don't do it, but I oversee strategy. And then when Andrew and I meet every week, essentially he comes to me with a list of things that are going on he either wants to loop me in on and or that he wants my help with. And then I will give him what I've taken to call an acorns of greatness. So I read, like, I'm a very voracious reader. I read like 3 books a week. Like, I'm crazy with their audiobooks. So I always say, people are like, that's not possible. Like, you're right, that wouldn't be possible. But audiobooks on double speed, you can do 2 to 3. So, but because of that, and because I'm also going to conferences and I do a lot of speaking, I'm always like hanging out with smart people like Don. I'm constantly coming back with what I call acorns of greatness. And I'm like, Andrew, he's an acorn of greatness, but you run MFF, so you don't need to do this. And then Michael and I have a separate meeting, but Michael is like completely out of MFF, so he mostly just works on our other company, Business for Unicorns. So all of this is to say that the advantage of having MFF where it is right now, I have brain space to think of like, okay, what could be another thing? Because yeah, as recently as the challenge is I just like my life so much. Right, I don't totally want to blow it up, but like any human, like I'm like, okay, what's the next thing? Could I think of like something that's like Soul Cycle, but they're like I'm super stoked about, like what might that be? So I have found myself of late thinking that, but we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. Ask me in a week.
How do you become part of your team?
Like how does it? Are you looking for a job?
No, I'm good. I'm good. It was actually somebody on my team was like, how do you pick your team? How do you become part of it? They're curious. It's because they went to your website and they're like, wow, like, and they were also curious because it's like on your website, you're definitely you look different in person
Yeah.
than you might on.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, he had his haircut. I don't think his
Yeah.
website. Did you have short hair on your website?
No.
No,
No,
I think
no.
Yeah, I think he had longer hair.
Yeah, I had longer hair on the website.
And I mean, it's also like a person that runs such a crazy, crazy place.
I know, man. Everyone's like, "You're wearing pants. It's so
I know,
unexpected."
yeah. It's like,
yeah.
what are you doing, man?
Yeah,
like, where's
for
your
sure.
undies? Yeah,
For
but
sure,
it's
for
like,
sure.
I guess it's like, how do you, it just seems like they wouldn't expect to be so put together.
Yeah.
And so down to earth. They'd expect some guy that's like maybe eating the acid and painting all the time.
Right.
So yeah, it's like, how do you make the impression on you to want to get to be a part of your team? And,
Yeah.
like, how does that how does
Yeah,
that
and I
happen?
think we're lucky, not like the clients. What we do is so unique that the people that really feel like this is the right fit for them, that believe what we believe, like will aggressively raise their hand. That's not to say that we never have to do outbound searching for talent, because I think we're always looking for talent. And that's another thing that's relatively new for us. We are now in a time where I suspect going forward, I anticipate we'll lose a trainer like every 2 to 3 months. And I think that's actually kind of a healthy thing, because I think for a lot of people, there's some people that, if they want to be there for 15 years, like I feel great about it. If they're happy and we're happy, and that's awesome. But I understand, for some roles at MFF, it's going to be like a 2, 3, maybe 5-year tour of duty. And there's actually benefit to the organization to have some fresh blood coming in on a regular basis. So if somebody is, is the question like, how does somebody get a job at MFF, or how do we find people?
I think it's both. I think it's like, how do you find people, and also like how would you make an impression at like a place like yours? It's not like a typical.
Yeah.
It's not like your typical gym. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I've asked Don the same question, and it's a lot. It's Don's told me his process, and it's involved. It's not it's not easy, and it's, from what I can tell, it's probably not easy for your places either. And it's also different, because it's a different. I feel like it's also a performance as well, because you have to have people who are like upbeat and on, and like they have to be willing to meet that type of energy.
Totally. Yeah, I think, it's a great point. I mean, and I think, what we've seen over the years is, by no means have we never had situations where, in spite of a person being a lovely person, they weren't the right fit and it didn't work out. But what I think we've actually seen, which surprised me, was there's a pretty wide breadth of personality styles that could do their version of it. Because we've had a lot of variety of people over the years. Certainly need to be able to get up in front of the room and like lead. Right, because that's another thing that's different about group exercise, even versus like semi-privates. It requires an ability to really take ownership and lead 15 people at once. So we, have our own interview process, like many people. It's like a very specific 10-step one. I'll spare you all the details, but it's like a lot of other people, you start with like the 15-minute phone screen. You confirm comp and availability, confirm that they can like speak and verbally communicative. Then they come in for a group interview with a lot of people. We have like a bunch of very specific processes around behavioral based interview questions. If they pass through that, then they do a stress test, particularly for the training team, for the fitness director, because we want to see like, okay, well, how do you actually behave in front of people? Like, what does it feel like to be coached by you? And then there's the final gauntlet with me, where anybody that's going to hired, I like to really like spend some time with and really kind of wear them down. Because broadly, I want to know like, how will you behave in 6 to 12 months when like you realize like I leave my socks on the ground. And MFF, it's frankly even more problematic, because some people are like, oh, MFF, if they're into, right, if it's their thing. And I very quickly try to disabuse them of the motion of any like Narnia, because it is not. It's an imperfect place. I'm an imperfect person. I try to really live with my feelings, what I don't do well, and I want to know like, how do they behave when they're not in a good place? Because you work with someone for 6 to 12 months, and for me, because the culture is so important, because MFF is well known for a culture, right? And I think oftentimes, understandably, when people think of culture, and I think it's true for all businesses, they think oftentimes of like branding, or like these symptoms of the culture, like the dildos or the unicorns or the capes, and that is an expression of the culture. But for me, like, it's broadly about like, I want to make the city I want it to live in, and I want people that I like hanging out with, that like are cool, and if they're having a bad day, they know how to manage their emotions, and if they're upset with me about something, they're willing to be like, hey dude, you really upset me the other day when you said that thing, so we can like have it out. Because in a lot of organizations, and again, there's a lot of the work I do now in organizational culture, it's like, I don't know, I'd say like people don't have the conversation they should have like Probably more often than not, right? And also, MFF is not perfect. Right now, there's probably people saying negative things about me that I'm not going to hear. But I think more often than not, we are willing to have difficult, painful conversations with each other. And not only does I think it make the business better from like a strategy perspective because all our brains are together, but I think that allows us to ideally continue to grow and develop as a human being by learning about the places where we're not showing up positive for other people.
Right. Do you feel like, this may sound like a bizarre question, but you do have a turnover of coaches?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like when a coach leaves, he or she a lot of times is saying that they can do it better? You know what I'm saying? And there's a reason why I'm actually asking this. I mean, they don't know what's going on behind closed doors. They don't know, they didn't know what you had to deal with Bowery.
Yeah.
They don't know about business problems, personal problems, maybe problems with your partner. Who knows? It could be, do you feel like that they leave and they're like, oh no, I could do this better? Or do you feel like that they leave on pretty good terms?
Yeah, I mean, I think they leave on pretty good terms, and it could be naivete. I have to honestly say, I can't say that I genuinely think, and I could be wrong, that people leave thinking like, oh, I could do a better job in this. I think they might leave because their time there is done, because there's things we're doing they just think we should do differently, and they're just ready for the next thing. Because MFF is kind of a unique thing. And I think part of that perhaps is because we are like very transparent, open book, like terrifyingly so. So like anybody that wants to come to like look at our numbers, like come look at our numbers, come look at our margins, want to know how much money we made last month? Well, check it out. Yeah. So because of that, I think they're as looped in as I can make them, because the flip side of it is they don't really care. By definition of being an employee, they don't really care. They just pay me and pay me more money. Right. Like I don't really want to hear about your rent increasing,
Right.
So, and again, that could be naivete, but I am very proud. I think like we've really, even when it's been our decision to end the time, I feel like we have without fail like had it be like really like conscious and intentional and really like had a good going away. But that who knows? There might be like a former team member listening, being like, "Ha ha, I could do it better." Our first couple years, again, we didn't know what we were doing. So first couple years, I was like, "This place is going to be like a virgin. So decide what business you're going to start now, baby. We're going on the moon, right?" And then it became clear, even when you're looking for entrepreneurs in a business, it is a certain type of person that doesn't want to do their own thing, but has the chops to be entrepreneurial and like really drive a train, right? So a couple years in, it kind of became apparent that like, this is like, I said a lot of things, and like some of you, like, I'm not probably going to be able to pay you just about any more than this ever.
Right.
And then I think we really normalized it, that part of our aspiration for MFF is to be a great place to come from. So for some of our coaches, there are definitely like a handful of people, that I hope are there 10, 15 years. I can't imagine the place without. But for a lot of people that want more opportunity, want more things, for me, like literally the mission of Mark Fisher Fitness is to unlock and amplify each human's inherent power. And if we're going to do that with the ninjas, I think we have to model that, which means when somebody comes to me and their dream is bigger than MFF can handle, I'm like, I'm in. What do I do? How do I help? Like, and they've also been, this is like, I'm getting like emotional. I just feel so grateful for this. People usually give us like 2 months. Everything's been amazing. We've never had to scramble because people are like, I'm just letting you know, it's time for me to end. I'm giving you your 2 months notice. And it's also cool too, because I'm also not worried about them like stealing clients or like, I just like, and again, has some of that stuff happened? Like maybe, but even then it's like, class example, our buddy Fury, like when Fury left, Fury would just be like, I was like, yeah, anytime somebody wants to come, you just like email me. He's like, hey dude, so-and-so just reached out. They don't want to train enough. How they're training me. Is that cool? I'm like, yeah, okay, buddy. It's cool, man. Yeah, like abundance, man. There's enough for everybody.
I think this is the first of many meetings with Mark.
I hope
there's
so.
a lot to, what I would love to do too, if it's possible, was, I think we should maybe one day get a camera up to his facility to show people.
If he would allow us to, I would love it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you'd be welcome to.
I would love to check it. I mean, after Don told me about it and I scoped it out, I was like,
So
I think it looks.
Why don't we come
it's
and
gonna
do
be
a
so anticlimactic now.
Wait,
You'll
but
come
why
in and be
don't we
like,
do it? No.
They're playing
You
Gaga.
could create something. You're an actor.
That's true. We could pretend like.
Can we come in and put like briefs on and like?
Oh well, we missed.
we
just did the jockstrap class on Saturday. Sadly,
I want to come to the jockstrap.
We couldn't have allowed cameras in for it for obvious reasons, but we do that actually every year as a fundraiser for Broadway Cares, Equity Fights AIDS.
Oh, really
a bunch of our
That's awesome.
bunch of our male ninjas get together, and Beast, who's like every gay man's dream, like teaches the class, and it's just like it's like much of MFF sounds often like very subversive and ribald, but ultimately is strangely wholesome and nurturing and motherly in a way that's very confusing.
See, I never even knew if it was ribald or ribald.
Oh, is it ribald?
I don't know. I mean, that's what I was saying. Like, that's why I never say the word.
Well, yeah.
No, but honestly, I'm that's really cool, by the way. And I wish please keep us informed when you do those types of events. I would
Yeah.
love to help spread the word on them.
Yeah, thanks so much, man.
That's really, really cool. And I listen, it won't be anticlimactic. I would love to check out the space.
Honestly, it would be an honor. We're so proud we love having guests. We love sharing our home with people. So
Well, I'm coming
I'm
on that
coming.
one. I'm coming on that one.
No, we're going together.
Do us a favor. Tell everyone who's watching, how they can get in contact with you
Yeah.
if they're interested in
Yeah,
coming to the
yeah.
club, et cetera,
Yeah,
social media.
Awesome. So places to find me are if you go to markfisherhumanbeing.com. That's like my main home, and you find all my other websites on there. Also, you can find my speaking schedule. For more about MFF, you go to markfisherfitness.com or at MFF Clubhouse. And for more about Business for Unicorns, which is the consulting company we mentioned, you can go to businessforunicorns.com, and you can find me at mfisherfitness on Instagram.
There's very few people in the industry. Every time I see him, I want to give him a hug. Mark's definitely one of them. He's just one of those
this guy.
guys that him and I always clicked with, and I couldn't be more proud of the direction he's going in business because he's making a difference the right way. So salute you, sir.
My brother.
Great job.
Thanks so much, man.
Yeah,
Thanks
for coming, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. What a joy.
It was a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
I would listen to you speak too. You're just a good speaker. Like, I just
Thanks,
like
man.
the way that he articulates.
One of the
One
better, one of the more charismatic speakers on the circuit that I speak on. A lot of fun every time I go listen to him speak, which has been several times. I always get some good stuff out of it. So
Thanks so much.
I would listen to you speak too, Don.
thank you, sir. I know. I'm
course.
trying to tone that down a little bit.
I always no. I listen. I
Love
would.
you, dude.
I
It's
definitely
like my
would,
boy.
man. That was awesome, and thanks for coming
Hey,
in.
man.
I
Hey,
would
thanks
love,
for having me.
Let's
Truly
do
what an
this
honor.
again, but we owe you a visit first.
Yeah, no, honestly,
Cool.
it would mean the world to me.
Pick.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hurrah.
We got reps at muscleandfitness.com. Don Saladino at Zraz. Till next time, this is Reps.